want to welcome us to class this morning, and today is the last part of the course that we're covering. And I want to believe you can hear me. I hope the network is. We're going to be looking at suppliers and manufacturers. Suppliers and manufacturers. And this will be the last part of the course. Suppliers and manufacturers. Okay. I'm sharing my screen right now. Please do well to follow. Okay. Let's start by understanding, we have been looking at QMT 201 quality management for a couple of weeks now. And for the want of time, I might not be able to go over to review all that I have said or all that we have done. So please do well suppliers of those that, because you will not, we said earlier on that quality cannot be achieved in isolation as one. So you have to work with other suppliers, other vendors to be able to achieve quality. And it's important to make sure that those that supply your inventory and your requirements are also have the same goal as you are. So let's start by looking at who a supplier is. We say the supplier is a person or business that provides a product or service excuse me, to another person or entity. Now, the role of a supplier in business is to provide high quality products from a manufacturer at a very good price to either a distributor or retailer. Okay, or for resale, a supplier in a business is someone who acts as an intermediary between the manufacturer and retailer, or the manufacturer and consumer. So when you have supplier, you have those that have manufactured, they have produced it. The supplier now go and collects them or receives them and brings them. So they are very, very essential for businesses. Okay, without raw materials to make what you sell, or manufacturers to provide what you resell, you will have a tough time building, you will have a tough time growing. So, and the truth is that there are many suppliers and many who provide all of these businesses. Okay, so suppliers and vendors are terms that are used interchangeably. And here we can do so much more than merely supply you with materials and services you need for your businesses. They can also be important sources of information, helping you evaluate the potential of new product. They can help you track competitors. They can help you provide new, customers. They can help in improving your product design when you have a good working relationship with them. Okay, these suppliers play a very important and huge role in what we call the PDC, that is the product. The roles that suppliers play. I'm going to be a bit fast so that we can cover this material. What are some of the roles that suppliers play in in providing their services? The role of a supplier in a business can be very demanding, as retailers at a certain level expect certain levels of quality, expect certain levels of flexibility, certain levels of quantity, and so it's very, very challenging when you have to be a supplier of a particular service. So so first of all, compliance, there has important elements on the supplier role is that suppliers have to comply with what local laws. A country can give a law, can give a directive issuing how things can be done, especially if you are an international supplier. You supply goods from China, from Germany, as any country as the case may be. So as a supplier, you know that you have to be able to comply with the requirements and the laws of the land. So you have to understand, review all human rights, labor protection, labor guide, human rights protection. All these are very important elements. So every supplier must learn to comply with local laws. There must be equitable transaction from all retailers. Suppliers must provide, uh, uh, opportunities for everyone that requires it. Okay, so if you're doing business, you will not want to supply to one at the expense of another, or meet the need of one and not meet the need of the other. And as a supplier also, you know that pricing is very important. So suppliers must be able to guarantee and give very good prices to retailers. Then managing conflicts. Suppliers to do business with those who conflict. So that is important. If you are a supplier. Now, let's look at supplier relationship management, which is the process of planning and managing all the supplier relationship manager that supply any product or service. This may involve raw material things like services, light, water, they are all called utility or clean. So the efficient supply of product and services, as the case may be. So what is a supplier relationship management? Supplier relationship management is the process of planning and managing all relationship with vendors that supply any product or service to a business. So the effective and efficient management of what the relationship with all those who supply services or product to you at what we call what supplier relationship management. And so if you have a good supplier relationship management, it's going to aid you very well. Why? Because you are able to effectively manage, you're able to effectively and judiciously manage that working, what is called a working relationship with your vendors who supply you all your inventory and all your requirements for the business. If you must be able to achieve quality. So managing relationships is a huge part of any department, but it is more so for suppliers, as these are entities who are not internal to the company. Suppliers exist outside of the business, meaning that the company needs to be careful with the information that it provides to the supplier. The business must strike the right balance, as the supplier needs to feel like the business values them before they will provide excellent services seamlessly and go above and beyond normal activities to impress the business. So what are the benefits if you have a good supplier relationship management? Some of the benefits, first of all, you will always get discount. We call it reduced cost. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. You can take down the points. Very important. Benefits of a good supplier relationship management, there will be reduced costs. Reduced cost. When you do business with somebody over a long time, you stand the benefit of getting discount. So the first thing benefit you get is what? There will be reduction in cost. Secondly, it's going to foster innovation. Why? Because when the business works closely with your supplier, they can work together to lead innovation, to bring about changes and improvement in the work area. So it fosters innovation. It brings about what? Collaboration. Collaboration means to work together, to be able to work hand in hand, okay, to achieve a certain goal. Then the next thing about it fosters innovation, collaboration, and what is called process improvement. It brings about process improvement. As feedback becomes commonplace, the business and suppliers start to understand the inner working of their relationship. The supplier will start to understand what products the business might be interested in and will know the right time to create that order. So it's going to bring about process improvement. How? For instance, you might know that, okay, as a supplier and as a vendor, I might have to bring my services. Okay, I supply 10 cartons to so and so every week. So you know that you have developed a relationship where probably you supply maybe 10 cartons of a particular product every week. You know without fail that this particular customer requires these 5 cartons of XYZ of raw materials every month. So that relationship is maintained in that light. So reduce cost, you foster innovation, it brings about collaboration and a lot of what process improvement. Okay, so supplier relationship management best practices. You're able to build lasting relationships. Okay, you're able to build a lasting relationship with your as you work together. Then you're able to build lasting relationships. Um, Then you're also able to improve on technology. You're also able to improve on technology. Then you are also able to evaluate risk and streamline supplier agreement. These are best practices in the field of supplier chain management. So let's quickly go to the manufacturers because we have just about very limited time. So let's go to manufacturers and look at we looked at supplier, we looked at who a supplier is, who a vendor is, and the benefit of good supplier chain management. So we're also going to quickly go and examine uh, who a manufacturer is and the responsibilities of manufacturers. Okay, we have looked at supplier. Now, a manufacturer is a person or a registered company which makes products or who makes finished products from raw materials in a bid to make profit. The goods are later distributed to wholesalers and retailers and to consumers, which is called the chain of distribution. The retailers display the products via brick and mortar stores, okay, or via different platforms that they have available. In manufacturing industries, products are made in large scale so as to meet the irresistible demand from what customers and consumers. So who are the manufacturers? The manufacturers are the producers. They are the ones that take raw materials. They are the ones that take raw materials and take these raw materials and convert them into civil into finished products that can be used by people. Okay, so it is standard practice to indicate the place of manufacture. This information is usually displayed on the package of the material. And if you want to know the manufacturer, whenever any product has been produced, carry the product, look at the details on the back of it. Just look around. You will definitely see the manufacturers, their location, their certification, their licensing to do what they do. Okay, it's a standard practice to indicate the place of manufacturing. Primarily, manufacturers ought to meet product certification requirement, as I've just said. So if you want to start producing any maybe plastics, for instance, or a particular soap or cosmetics, you will need to get licensing from authorizing body, for instance, NAFDAC or SON. Okay, so and doing this will require you to carry out quality assurance and quality control tests before your products can be licensed to use. A manufacturer needs to observe all quality assurance activities and measures to avoid potential problems and lawsuits from customers, because if you promise what your products cannot do, then there's likelihood that you can have a lawsuit, you can have a fine, a customer might be angry at what is happening and issue a potential lawsuit for that reason. So manufacturers tend to produce items in bulk production and are able to distribute them to meet requirements of consumer. So let's look at the manufacturing process. Commercial viable products. Okay, so trend setting manufacturing technology predominantly rules the entire business or the tools in manufacturing process. You could have additive fabrication, which is this aspect of building, which is the aspect of binding two materials together. Okay, which is binding two materials together. When you produce a prototype that resembles a physical product, you maybe use computer-aided design and technique, laser centering, and all of that to do what? To do all your additive fabrication. You use computers and the rest of that to do your plan and your design. Okay, when you're binding two materials together, we also have software. Manufacturers use what? Business automation. That is using digital means, okay, and automatic means, and not manual, to help in planning, in preparation for business. High-scale manufacturer uses, elite softwares, which is powerful enough to handle both financial and warehouse management very accurately. Then they also use what automated system, which is very standardized system. Okay, so let us see how we can distinguish or differentiate manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers. Manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers. Now, in the best possible way, these terms have very close relationship. On the other hand, a clear line must be drawn. When you say a manufacturer, who is that person? When you say a distributor, who is? When you say a retailer, who is the person? So let me just quickly explain them. We've already said right from the beginning that a manufacturer is one who produces products from the raw material stage and converts them into a finished product that can be used. A manufacturer is one who takes raw materials and converts them into a finished product that can be used by anyone. Now, who is a wholesaler? Now, after a manufacturer has produced his product, a wholesaler is an individual or a company that can buy in large volumes or quantity. Okay, they buy in large volumes of quantity. So you can produce, in your warehouse, then a manufacturer can come and buy cement. Okay, that is literally millions. Okay, and after he buys those 10 trucks, he transports them probably from Lagos to Kano, or Lagos to Osun, or Lagos to Abuja, at once. So that a wholesaler, he takes 10 trucks of what? Your product of cement. He takes 5 trucks and takes them for onward distribution. Okay, then a retailer is somebody who buys lower quantity. Okay, along the supply chain, they buy lower quantities from the wholesalers. Then the who is a distributor? Distributors work hand in hand to be a very strong business relationship between the two parties. More often than not, both counterparts enter into legal form of agreement. So and of course that relationship now fosters business activity. So a distributor is one who is legally licensed of that company and take them to different parts to both wholesalers and retailers. So you could be producing, you could be manufacturing. I am a legal distributor of maybe Pampers now. Okay, so based on my relationship with the company and based on what we have agreed, I get those products at a very, very discounted rate and supply to different people, supply to shops, supply to supermarkets, supply to, to different outlets where we have an outlet and people can come and buy from us. Okay, so that is the work of a distributor. Okay, he has a responsibility to take the products from the manufacturer and see that it gets to different parts of, and he gets his own margin. Okay, so that's who a distributor is. Manufacturer supply good. So, and another key and important aspect of distribution is that you can take products on credit. Yes, when you have a good rapport from your because manufacturers they don't want their product stock and left in the warehouse. So you as a distributor can go and take certain amounts on credit, not paid, and distribute and take and sell, after which you now make your returns back to the company. So that those relationships help manufacturers to get their product out very easily, since you're working based on on uh, on uh, on credit. It helps all of that. So to wrap that up, it is certain that a wholesaler needs to have flexible purchasing power. This helps them buy goods in high volumes. As a result, it attracts discounted price, which trickles down to increase their profit margin. In furtherance of that, many retailers can actually count on wholesalers. As a matter of fact, the wholesalers have a wide range of product due to close link with different distributors. So, but wholesalers can buy from manufacturers and they can buy from distributors. So let's look at offshore manufacturing. We have just 10 minutes more. Let's speed it up. Now, this is a term which refers to the process of assembling raw materials and come up with a complete product in a different country. An alternative term for this operation is offshoring, I beg your pardon, offshoring, which relates to the process of migrating a company's industrial process to another country. Most companies go for this option if the labor expenses are cheaper in another country. Here's an example. Apple designs its products in US, but all the assembling is done in China, where the manufacturing costs much lower. In fact, there are many countries that do a lot of the assembling of their products in China. That's because China has a very large population, and because of that, it makes production much cheaper. So all the softwares and all of these things are built in probably United States, for example, like Apple, but the assembling will now be done in China, and you now see made in China. It is actually not made in China, it's actually still a US patented product. You can even see sometimes even laptops, that happens a lot. You see maybe a HP laptop owned by US but coupled and assembled in China. So Apple designs its products in US but assembles in China, where manufacturing costs much lower. Okay, companies often look at what is called the economics of scale to help to reduce costs. So let's quickly look at the types of manufacturing. Types of manufacturing. There are three predominant avenues when it comes to manufacturing. We have MTS, which is make to stock. We have MTA, make to assemble, and we have MTA also MTO, make to order. Make to stock, make to assemble, make to order. Make to stock, make to assemble, make to order. Okay, these are three avenues when it comes to manufacturing. So let's look at them. Let's look at the first one, which is make to stock. Make to stock. Now, it's a method which is, so please, I hope you can see the screen. The make is M-A-K-A. You put a dash or a hyphen to T-O dash stock. Make to stock. Secondly, make to assemble. Thirdly, make to order. These are the three types of manufacturing manufacturing avenues or products. So now let's look at the first one, which is make to stock. I would say it's a method which is often used by manufacturers to meet anticipated customers' demand. It's a method which is often used by manufacturers to meet anticipated customer demand. Customer forecasts are majorly rallied upon while manufacturing products. Now, if a manufacturer produces a product which is in high demand at a particular season, this proves is the most appropriate plan to make a kill out of the potential customers in the market. The data is accurate and helps a manufacturer avoid having an excess inventory or less stock, which might result in less. So this strategy works well in an environment where there's mass production of goods. Moreover, it is right-minded business management plan which reduces operating costs. So what is make to stock? So it's a method where whereby manufacturers try to meet what is called anticipated customer demand. For instance, we know that we might be in dry season, and let's assume we're in dry season. You know that the use of umbrellas and sweaters is going to be much less because of heat and sun. So when you're practicing make to stock system, you know that once you get into May, there'll be more demand for raincoats, rain boots, there'll be demand for sweaters, there'll be demand for umbrellas because the weather and season has changed. There'll be a lot of demand for polythene, nylons, and so you can look at the future and say, okay, right from May, from April, we'll start producing XY goods in bulk. Why? Because you know that the demand is about to go high. That is what we call make to stock uh, production. Okay, so you produce and you're able to meet demand. You produce in high quantity because you know that that will be in demand. But during the dry season, such kind of products go very low in production. If you're having pure water company, you know that the season of rainy season, there's less demand for water compared to heat season where you can at just in the heat of the sun buy water, and before you know what, you've drank it, and next few minutes you're buying another one. So let's look at make to order. It's a manufacturing process which begins once an order for a customer is received. This gives leeway for customization of product and easy management of inventory. Okay, interesting enough, it means to mitigate, it means to mitigate the production of excess inventory. So this is where you don't just produce, you produce based on demand. Okay, what makes this a preferred strategy is that, of course, it helps, it's its capacity to help manufacturers fulfill an order. Okay, uh, assemble to order is quite similar to where raw materials are readily available. So now, so what are we saying in summary? Because you produce based on order, you produce based on demand. When an order has been made for something, then you can go in. It's called make to assemble. The company uses this method to keep a stock of its basic parts based on market demand forecast. These parts are then where definitely required at XYZ time, so that once it's just ordered for, then you can make your supply. So it's a method that is used to keep stock of basic parts, based on the fact that when in forecasting, you know that this thing will be required. So you make it and you just keep it. Then you assemble in a warehouse, or as the case may be, when it's needed, then you can, important to learn how to mitigate, the risk in production and of supplier chain risk. Okay, it happens when suppliers aren't available enough, and this prevents you from making your products reach the end of the buyer. So you have to mitigate manufacturing risk, because one of to produce and your products are not being sold out, are not being bought, are not being used. So you have to create that supplier chain where you know opportunity for so that you can mitigate beg your pardon, any risk. Remember that there are potential link, okay, of all their data, of course, during production. And use of software is very important for maintenance of all, inventory that are being produced. So cyber security and all of that becomes part of what supplier and manufacturer. And from the explanation I've made, you can see that suppliers is the one who supplies, the one who creates the product. Suppliers in the company purchase, also categorized as vendors, that's suppliers, and manufacturers are called what? Producers. Suppliers supply the product to respective places where they will be used, whereby manufacturers actually make and produce these products. Okay, the suppliers act as a link in between manufacturer and customer production. Manufacturers solely related to materials, quality type, and product, whereby suppliers are not concerned with material quality type directly. They just ensure that what the products are quality. So it's not their goal to go and start looking for what what will be used in manufacturing. That is the responsibility of manufacturers. I would say suppliers are concerned um, with manufacturers. Yes, they are concerned, whereby because that's where they depend on them, as it were, and manufacturers are not necessarily concerned with their what, with their suppliers. They are mainly concerned with production, with their producers. Okay, so these are the differences, and you can see much more suppliers are the ones who sell the product, okay, and producers can make at the point of manufacture or production to buy your goods directly. So with this, we come to the end of QMT 201. I've already given us assignments. Please do try as much as possible and do your assignment